Well, here we go. Welcome to Heidi and Audrey. Audrey's the smaller one, Heidi's the bigger one, so everybody
Yeah.
knows. Welcome all the way from Melbourne, Australia. And Heidi and Audrey, you have been members of the Academy now for how long?
Since about, I think, March of this year, Rachel. So
Brilliant.
f relatively new.
Fantastic. And so I would just love to hear about your journey, Audrey. And well, actually, we'll start with Mum, Heidi, and then hear about Audrey, who I heard was third in her event on the weekend. So that is very impressive. So can you tell us a little bit about your background before we start talking about the Academy?
Uh, well, I came from a horse racing family. My father was a trainer, and I was really obsessed and so desperately wanted to be a jockey, but I was way too heavy and I wasn't a good enough rider. So I rode a little bit of track work for my dad, and then went to Pony Club and did some low level eventing into my 20s. Then had a career, and the horses sort of went by the wayside. And then I went to France to ride for a racehorse trainer over there. And that was a really amazing experience. And yeah, something that I will always cherish. And then I came back and had children, and I stopped riding for around 7 years. And then I started to get back into it and joined my local adult riding club and was so nervous. It was like I was starting, I had never ridden before. I was so nervous. And then Audrey started to develop a real interest in horses. And I've always loved cross country and watching it. And Lucinda's, the academy kept on popping up on Facebook, and I thought I'd had a riding fall in October of last year, and I was just coming back. I'd had quite a few months off with a head injury, and I thought I'm going to do this. And I started with the green print, absolutely loved it, sat there and took notes and devoured it, and put so many of the exercises into practice. And then Audrey would come and watch it with me, and then we just started to watch the academy together. And Audrey, she'll talk to you, Rachel, but she started to compete back in March. She had her first event in March, her first horse trials. And I thought, I can do this. I'm going to do this again. This is what I want to do. Just low level for fun to do it together.
Yeah.
So the academy, we've been working our way through, and this weekend we're doing our first horse trials together, and my first horse trials in probably over 20 years.
Oh, that is so exciting. And how wonderful to do it together. That is brilliant. And Audrey, do you realize that you have inspired your mother? This is very good. The younger
Yeah.
generation is leading the way. So I am fascinated. So Audrey, I do want to talk to you, but I'm going to talk to Mum for a minute. I am really interested. So when you joined the academy, the first thing you did was the green print. Now, I'm a little bit biased because when Lucinda and I first dreamt up this academy, we said, right, we need to put down, well, I said, we need to put down all of your teaching principles, your philosophies, we need to put them all down, and we need to make it into an easy, digestible system to follow. Lucinda's like, no, I don't do that. Do everything by feel. I watch and then I teach, and that's how I go. And I'm like, well, that's not true because I've been watching you teach my daughter, and there are a lot of things that come up time and time again. So over a period actually of 2 or 3 years, because it's grown into what it is now, the green print, we've added more and more. And I really would love some feedback from that as to see whether it's a helpful, useful. Is there anything we could change? What are your thoughts, Heidi?
I got so much out of the green print and being here in Australia. And I guess a lot of people probably think, oh, what can you learn about writing online? And have actually found it to be invaluable. The exercises, my particular favorite is the rough ground training.
Mm.
When I wasn't riding and I was doing a lot of groundwork with the horses, I was doing all of the rough ground training in hand.
Yeah.
and taking them up and down banks, through water, on really uneven ground, over tricky things to gain their confidence. So that once I was back on them, I felt such a difference with them having their confidence and being safe.
Mm,
So that exercise was incredible. The straight line halt to get them listening. There's so many takeaways in the green print, Rachel, that
mm,
I've received, and I think a couple of them being teaching your horse to actually be able to think for themselves. I can't read a stride. So or see a stride. I cannot do it. I never have been able to do it. So it was so exciting when I did the see a stride challenge to find out we don't actually have to see a stride. Let the horse see the stride. That was another
mm.
really great learning and to give the horses the confidence to actually be able to think for themselves. And I think that the green print embodies all of that.
Amazing. Amazing. I'm thrilled to hear that. I really am. I know that definitely the Sea Stride, but the thing that I loved what you just said there, because we do have a lot of people that are really coming back from just either an accident or they're really struggling with their nerves. And they say, well, could we do this on the ground with the horse? And I have done lots and lots of rough ground training and training in hand with Eddie, who used to scare the bejesus out of me because he would
Yeah.
do the stop and spin. And I've ridden to a high level. So I do appreciate how nerve-wracking it is when you have a horse that's quick and sharp. And I think what you said there, which is magic, especially with a young horse that's learning to learning to jump or learning to do things, if you can teach them off of the on while you're on the ground first, when you get on, they've learned all of that, and then they can deal with you up there, because sometimes horses are like, what's that up there? So that is genius. That is genius to go out and do your rough ground training on foot. So, hi, sorry, Audrey, do you do rough ground training?
Yeah.
Brilliant. And so when you go rough ground training, where do you go? Do you kind of set it up at home, or do you have some places where you can go and do rough ground training?
Well, Mum and I, we normally just go a little bit down the road and we've got a bush track and there's lots of marks where cars are going through and you have to go through ditches and everything.
Oh, that literally is perfect. So, just in case everybody that's listening is thinking, what is this rough ground training? Um, in the academy, we actually seek out exactly what Audrey said: big tractor ruts where they've driven through with their tires, logs and twigs in the woods, and little mounds and bumps, and areas that you would think, I'm never going in there. I'm going to stick to this lovely smooth path. Academy members seek out rough ground. And the thing that I love about it the most is it's done in walk. You don't want to go trotting through tractor ruts. So everything's done in walk, and it's nice and slow, and it makes the horse go, oh my goodness, I need to concentrate and think about where I'm going. And it develops their muscles. I actually remember we had an academy camp, and Nikki Dolby, who's a friend of the other Heidi who's about to come on, her horse Ted was literally cantering sideways on this hack. And I said, don't worry, in a minute he'll stop cantering sideways. And when he got to the rough ground, he did exactly that. He's like, oh, I can't canter through this. I'm going to walk. So it has many, many, many benefits, the rough ground training. And I'm thrilled you guys are recognizing that. Okay, so how do we get from doing our rough ground training on the ground, Heidi, to getting ready to go to a competition? So we have a lot of riders that don't compete, but I really want to encourage them into competing and going cross country. So how did you get from A to B there using the academy?
I think that the Ready for Trouble and the Tube were two concepts that I had never learned. I think coming from a racing background, it's very different.
Well, I think you'd need to be ready for trouble when you're racing, and you probably didn't realize you were.
Well, maybe that's right. But the Ready for Trouble really gave me a lot of confidence. The horse that I fell off back in October and hit my head quite badly. I did a lot of the rough ground training with him and built his confidence, but the Ready for Trouble position is what saved me once I got back on him. And with my thoroughbred that I'm competing with on the weekend, he's feeling very fresh. We've just started spring in Australia and there's lots of feed around. So I think that incorporating the exercises, this like the straight line halt, and what I really love about the academy is that you don't have to be jumping 6 foot fences. So we jump a lot of small things and just get their confidence and do a lot of hacking. So that's sort of that we've taken it really slowly, and I don't expect to meet time limits on the weekend. It might look really ugly, but I just want to get around safely, and even if that's in a trot, I don't mind. So I think just incorporating the little exercises and just taking it really slowly, step by step, building their confidence to get back to a place where I feel safe enough to compete, but also the horse is confident enough to go and do that.
I love what you just said there because it's managing your expectations when you go to a competition. And I imagine that Audrey's expectations may be harder to manage than Heidi's, because if you're anything like me, Audrey, you'd be like, I'm going to a competition and I want to win. And the great thing about when you get older is you realize that winning is the kind of bonus on the top. The actual cherry is achieving your goals. And I remember Lucinda telling the story when she went to LA and she came fifth or sixth, and she was getting commiserated by a lot of people saying, I'm sorry, because she was hot favorite to win. And I think her strength was that she wanted to do the best that she could do and the horse do the best that he could do. And if that wasn't good enough to win on the day, so be it. And I think having those expectations of just understanding, I haven't competed for many years. I just want to get through the competition. And what you said to me about trotting music to my ears, trotting around a cross country course is absolutely the way to go. You'll probably find you'll start off thinking I'm going to trot, and then maybe you'll pick up canter and off you'll go. But I think focusing on a couple of key things, like I'm going to make sure I'm ready for trouble and I've got my engine line and balance. And
Yes.
and if you focus on those two things, then you are, if something goes wrong, something goes wrong. But I did my best, and that was it. So,
That's right. And
yeah, sorry, Heidi, go
sorry,
ahead.
Rachel. The engine line and balance is another, oh my God. It's common sense, but it's never been put into words. And
Yeah,
when I look back at videos of my horse that I'm competing on the weekend, I've got no engine. So he'll trot up, no balance. And it has just been so good to become aware of that
yeah.
and to be able to work on it. Sorry to interrupt, Rachel.
No, I'm really happy that you said that, because I think we talk about one of Lucinda's underlying philosophies is our horse must think for himself whilst
Mm.
listening to us. But it's also very, very difficult for a horse to do that, especially coming into the fence. So if we're coming into the fence and we're like, oh my God, I need to be on that stride, and we start yanking and pulling, then he can't think for himself in that moment, because he's going to go, what are you saying? And that becomes a problem. And I think that's where the engine line balance is, for me, has helped me so much, because as long as I'm doing those three things and they're set up nice and early, then the
Mm.
horse can think for himself. And so so everything kind of knits into each other, doesn't it? It's funny how
Yeah,
it all works.
it does.
Wonderful. So, Audrey, you have a competition this weekend. What have you been doing to prepare for it?
Well, I've been trying to learn my dressage tests.
Oh God, dressage.
We don't like dressage. You did some jumps training
Yeah,
tonight.
and then I just did a few little jumps tonight, and I've been taking my pony out in the bush quite a bit with Mum and just doing a lot of ground training.
Brilliant. And do you know why that's so good, Audrey? I'll tell you.
Um,
Oh, you go ahead. I want to hear what you think. Yes.
because maybe at the horse trials, if there's any ditches near jumps and anything, your horses can find their own way around it.
Yeah, you're right. That is absolutely true because all the time you're asking them to do these crazy things in the woods. And obviously, you don't start with really crazy things, you build up to it. But every time they go over that, what looks like it's a chasm to China, which is actually just a little black ditch, every time they go over that and get to the other side and get a pat, they're like, oh, I'm okay. She asked me to do that thing. And I've got to the other side and I feel good. And what that's doing is it's developing trust. He's starting to trust you. So the more times you do that out on a hack and various different places, and he gets to the other side and everything's okay, that means that eventually, when you come to England to do badminton, he will jump over anything you point him at. That's how it works. So you are right now training for badminton. It's just a little bit of a long way in the distance. But I love that philosophy that the horses, it's that developing that trust. They trust you, you trust them, everybody trusts each other. And that is really what the Academy is all about. So I have one more question for you guys. So you're in Australia. And the Academy does their lives at 8 p.m. on England time, just so it's good for us. And we don't obviously think about all those people on the other side of the world. Do you get to come on the lives at all?
No. It's probably 4 o'clock in the morning when the lives are on, but we go back and watch them. And Audrey particularly loves the critiques, the video critiques.
Oh, do you, Audrey?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
We actually get a lot out of the video critiques and we have a laugh and we say, oh, that's okay. That's what we look like. And but we do go back and watch them. So I don't think it's a disadvantage, except that we're not asking questions. But I don't think that there's a disadvantage to being in Australia because you can go back and access. And in fact, I will sometimes go back and rewatch something from the GreenPrint or rewatch an interview, and there's no disadvantage to it.
Brilliant. That's great to know because so just so everybody knows, you have an app, and whenever we do a live, we record it and we upload it to the app. And I know that a lot of people, and myself included, I'll re-listen to, like I re-listened to the Ros Cantor one that we just had recently, which because it was unbelievable. And that is in the hub right now. And I plugged it into my ears when I was walking my dogs the other day because I wanted to re-listen to it because it was fascinating. And I, funnily enough, do listen to every single one live because I'm facilitating it for Lucinda. Now, there was something else that you just said there that was a really good point, and blimmin' heck, my brain has gone a fuzz. How annoying, but never mind. So I am thrilled to hear that you guys are getting so much from the Academy. Audrey, are you going to send a video in, a before and after for our video critiques? That's what I was going to talk about, the video critique. Yeah.
Good
Brilliant. You
idea.
must send a video in. So for anybody that's listening, if you would like Lucinda to critique your video, if you are brave enough, she's actually really lovely. She's not too scary, sometimes a bit scary. She calls a spade a spade. The times that you get into trouble for sending a video in are if it's a good video. She doesn't like good videos. She only likes it when you've messed up because that's when we learn. So what our members have an opportunity to send in their videos and Lucinda will critique and then explain what they can do to make it better. So it's a really fun thing. And we do that about 3 times a year. We've got one coming up fairly soon. I think in November, I think we're doing a video critique. So make sure you get your video ready. Make sure it's you making a mess up though, Audrey, because I bet you don't have any of those, do you? I bet you they're all good videos.
I think I have one from Pony Club.
Good. That's what we need. That's what we need. We don't want you to go and force a bad video.
No, she's got a very well-educated 25-year-old Welsh pony.
Oh,
That is just every mother's dream, and
oh,
she looks after her like you wouldn't believe. So we're very lucky to have that old girl.
that is wonderful. But be ready though, Audrey, because the naughty ponies are coming.
Yes, they are. They are.
Oh. Okay, well, it's been so brilliant talking to you. Thank you so much for taking time to chat to us in our Tack Room Talk.